Coco. She's getting closer.
Oh no, she's gonna knock down the camera.
What was that noise?
I don't know.
Coco, we're trying to record a video.
She always comes up when I'm recording a video with you.
I know.
I think she's like,
this is the third time.
hey, why are you making him record stuff?
Coco, go do chickeny things somewhere else. I'm gonna try this again. You better shush. You all literally do not know the disaster in which trying to do this video has been.
Yeah, I don't even.
It's been
awful. You can't
awful.
even make up. It's
Awful.
I think it's probably been at least 10 different things, 10 different times that we have started this. And that's not an exaggeration. 10.
And this was like, hey, our lunch is almost done. Let's run outside. We'll like get this video out in like 10 minutes and be back and be good to go. And now we're like hot and sweaty and the kids are freaking out because our lunch is done. They need to make their, it's a whole thing. Welcome to Biblical Womanhood.
Why am I here?
Why is he here? Because I thought it would be a neat idea to bring in a husband perspective on these things that we're talking about. I think this is a good idea. He hates the camera, so anything that has to do with the camera, he does not think is a good idea. So honestly, just ignore him.
I'm talking about biblical womanhood and submission. Wait, because one, you've got me here for a video, and two, you haven't let me shave for like 2 weeks.
But
you should see the fit that she throws.
No. Do not paint this as what it's not. I have to, okay, you know what? Fine. We're going to share. I've been sharing all of our personal business, well, all week, all this time. So we're going to share it. Brandon likes long hair. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but I have a ton of hair. It's like 90 degrees and 700% humidity right now. Guess what makes you really hot?
You know what I bet?
The hair.
You know what I bet that you're not going to share?
No.
Is the fact that I came to you, what, like 2 days ago?
Yeah, that was a trap.
Like,
that was a trap.
That was not a trap.
Yes, it was. Okay. So
no,
anyways,
that wasn't. That was like, I want to cut my hair and you can cut your hair.
So that was a trap.
If it'll make you just...
So that was a trap. So anyways, I've always told Brandon that I love when he lets his hair grow out a little bit longer. You guys, he used to be like super pompadour man and the whole thing. But I do give, and he is always buzzing his hair down to absolutely nothing. I, for the life of me, do not understand why he does that. I don't get it. And so I've always said, why don't we compromise? You don't have to have super long, like huge pompadour hair, which I agree with because it takes this man forever to do his hair.
And
like,
I'm way too old. And
I can be ready in like 10 minutes. Him, it's like hours upon hours. So I say, okay, what if we just have like a happy medium of not quite so long, but not, you know, shaved down to your stinking scalp type of a thing. He's a weirdo and I don't know why. And every Saturday before our live that we do, he goes and shaves everything off. So he will let his beard grow. He will let his hair grow. He'll let everything happen until Saturday at the live. And then he shaves everything off. He knows how I feel about it.
Yeah, because I usually shave every Saturday anyway.
He knows how I feel about it. I've always been clear. And yet he goes,
but I don't.
And he does
but
these
what do
things
I do?
every week.
I don't shave it bare.
No, he just does like stubble. But anyways, you know what my preference is, but that's what you want to do. So that's what you do. It is what it is. But then,
yeah, it's
week,
so simple.
But it is what it is. Does it change what happens every single Saturday? No. Until this past Saturday, when he said something about it, I was like, why do you ask me? You're going to go do it anyway, so don't ask me what I want when you're not going to do it, and we all know that. And so this week he was like, fine, I won't shave. And I was like, I think you are ridiculously handsome. I love your beard. I love when your hair gets longer. I love all of these things. You don't like it though, so whatever, you do you. And so you didn't shave. And me and your daughters have all been commenting about how super cute it is and seeing it grow out and all of his little white whiskers and it's so stinking cute. And then he was like, do you just want to cut your hair? And I was like, no, that's a trap. 20 years together. I'm not answering that one. Has nothing to do with me cutting my hair.
I didn't say, do you want to? I said, go ahead and cut it.
Nope.
I know you want to.
Nope.
That's what I said. I know you want to. That was before you told me that you were annoyed with all this hair.
It does need to be trimmed, but that's just
See, go ahead, and I won't say a word.
Trimmed is like that much. Like, I normally trim my hair, and you don't even notice something's different.
The only thing I don't want you to do is, like, short.
One time, 14
Yeah, I think
years
we talked
ago?
about this one time.
Maybe we did. I went to get my hair trimmed when Travis was a baby. And I told the gal I wanted it. I said, it has to be past my shoulders. I explained to her the whole thing. She turns me back around in the chair, and my hair is like up here. Like, it's not even touching my shoulders. It's floating above. And my mom walked in too, and she was like, Brandon's gonna have a heart attack. And I remember getting home and walking in and being like, I did not ask for this. I was turned around in the chair. She flipped me back, and I went, oh my goodness, I have no hair left. Brandon's going to have a heart attack.
I was so mad.
You were.
I was so mad.
So welcome to Biblical Womanhood.
The fact that, like, you didn't even say anything. But you didn't know.
I didn't know. Well, I wasn't going to call you when I was down at the mall and be like, hey, guess what? When I get home, you're going to be furious.
No.
Get ready now.
No, that was what I was saying. It's like, that just what's made my reaction worse is because I know you didn't know.
Yeah.
That you didn't mention that you were going to even get your hair cut, period.
No, I think we went down like to do our hair or something.
Maybe you did, yeah. And I was just like, don't get it cut short. You came back.
I was like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. See, the one thing about Heidi is she always, anytime I tell her something, she goes, well, yeah, duh. The only problem with it is sometimes you don't do that.
Sometimes you don't do that. And that's our topic of obedience to this week that we're talking about. Because
Then you go, yeah, duh, stupid.
Okay, well, sometimes my intentions are to do something one way, and then things fall apart quickly.
Like, Heidi, watch your speed.
Okay, that's a bad example.
Okay. And comes home with ticket. So I got bored.
I don't always get ticketed.
Not always.
Anyways, would you say that, and you can be honest, because I already shared all of our business, but would you say overall, do you think I do a good job being an obedient wife?
Yes, of course.
But I have areas I'm sure.
That's such a weird question.
I know, and I don't mean it in a weird way.
I know, and that's something that I think is going to be a different, interesting perspective on the husband part of it, because I never thought about any of this stuff this way, and I'm not sure that people should. I mean, I guess if you're used to this type of relation, and you have, I mean, it doesn't fit for everybody, but I think if you're going into marriage and you're young in marriage and stuff, that you should just treat each other like you would friends. Yeah. What do friends do?
Yeah, how do you truly love someone?
Yeah, how do you truly love and treat somebody correctly? And I think
because it's not that you walk around with this stick of authority just waiting to whack your wife with it at any chance you get.
That's what's ridiculous. And I was like, well, you wouldn't disrespect your friend, and you wouldn't let your friend disrespect you. You would do things, I'm talking about like really, really good, we all have them.
Yeah.
Best friends that are just like family. And, there's stuff that you wouldn't do. There's stuff, you don't disrespect them.
But it's funny to see now that most spouses treat each other so poorly compared to their friends. Like, they might be really great with their friends, but the spouses, like, you know what I mean? Like, just the relationship between couples. One person commented, and she said...
so it's really awkward. Well, I was just saying it was going to really awkward.
Well, that's what made me think of it, though. But there's one person who commented, though, and said... When I asked, do you think you're an obedient wife? Do you think you're obedient to your husband? And she said, well, yeah, I think I do a good job because he doesn't really demand much of me, so it makes it kind of easy. And I felt like in a way, like that kind of, I don't feel like you have, I think when people usually talk about obedience and stuff like that, obedience to your husband, people get like, they think it's like the 1940s and he has this list of rules when he comes home, this better happen. And maybe he does, like maybe he does have things that he'd like to have done or whatever, but I feel like, I don't feel like I'm walking around on eggshells because you have this like incredible list of demands that I must somehow meet regardless of the kids or my own self, or anything like that. But it's the heart issue behind it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're my partner in life, I'm not going to. That's another thing I don't really get. Like you said, the list of rules and just somebody that is kind of demanding and stuff. And it's like I don't agree with that at all. I don't think that.
But I feel like if I sat down and somebody said, "Make me a list of the things that Brandon wants you to obey," I could think of a million things that I do, honestly, subconsciously, really, because I know you like things a certain way, or I know that that's going to bother you, so I just don't do those things.
Well, actually,
you know what I mean? But it's not like it's a list you gave me. It's just a thing.
I think that was my point in the argument that we had. I think that was my point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That I was like, you know the things that I like and the things that I do. Particularly, I don't want to be demanding, just know and do those things. It's not that I want to demand anything or that I want things a certain way in my house. Like, that kind of talk is ridiculous. I mean, I really don't find that godly. I don't find it's one thing to control your household and
have your home in order
and have an order of it. But if you're abusing your authority, I mean, she's your wife. She's not your servant. She's not, you definitely have a role. We have specific roles, but you're not a servant, you're not a maid, you're not any of those things. I mean, I shouldn't get up from the table and expect that you're just going to come and pick up my stuff. Like, I mean, why can't I pick it up? What is it that difficult? Like, I'm too tired, I've had too hard of a day to pick my plate up. It's fine if you're going to get up and come around and pick it up and do it for me, and I thank you for it. Of course, that's, if you're serving me in that way, that's fine.
Sure.
But having the mentality of
because again, that's the heart issue there.
Like, I don't need to touch dishes because I'm a man.
Yeah.
And that's a woman's job. Like, that kind of stuff is, I don't understand that. So I don't think, just noticing, I guess, the things that they personally like, enjoy, and honestly serving them. What the crap is wrong with that
rooster?
Bird? Can I shoot him yet?
No, Lily loves that rooster. We cannot eat him. She loves that rooster.
I cannot stand that rooster.
Anyways, no, but I think because again, all of that is the heart of the matter behind it. Like, are you coming at our marriage with "you are the superior one, I must crumble it"?
Yeah, what kind of attitude do you have?
But at the same way, we go back to how we were when we first got married. And we were really young when we got married. We were 17 and 20. We had no idea what we were doing. We both come from single mom households. Yeah, we're still making it up as we go, but we both come from single mom households. We didn't grow up with a dad in the house. We didn't even see the dynamic of like mom and dad in our lives. So trying to figure that out, you were very controlling in aspects. So then I fought back and rebelled against you for no good reason, just because I was mad. Like, there's so many issues and all of that falls apart. And I'm glad we learned so much from it. And I'm so thankful because the people we are today, I think, wouldn't even recognize, those people. And
there's definitely moments where, you do, I guess, have the role where you're like, no, this is, a final word.
Sure.
Those moments are very few and far between, though, and I don't think that you should rule your house with those. I think that those should only come out.
Well, and kind of when we looked at like the Proverbs 31 woman, her husband trusts her, and so she takes care of the affairs of her household, right? So I've shared, like, when it comes to, most people would say, well, financials should be the husband's business. And I say, yeah, for a long time, like, you did control everything with it. You hate it. You cannot stand it. It stresses you out. Like, you don't like it. Whereas I'm over here, like, budgeter and all of the things. And so that's been something where you're like, I trust what you're going to do with it. Go do it. So it's not a big deal. But then if there's something that you're like, no, my foot down, or I'm not too sure, I always go, hey, what do you want me to do? There's this much money. This is what's what. Like, what do you want it to be? But overall, you trust me that there are these certain areas of our lives that I just take care of. I just put together. And then there's certain areas that are totally your business. And I'm like, yep, talk to your dad. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think another thing that would be interesting to get your opinion on is some women, some of the comments and messages and stuff I've gotten, they're like, it's great, and I get the idea.
Our relationship, it just seems so much different than a lot of other people's. Just in the way of things that you take care of. I think it's just depending. Like, we've always gone through periods where you know, you'll take care of all this stuff, and then I'll go through a period where I take care of it. It's just kind of, it's always just kind of like a back and forth thing. There isn't, I've never really noticed any kind of like specific role. And it's been so unique that even my family has been like, what do you do? Yeah, we get comments all the time. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We don't do that. I don't think like that. We're fine. And I think that's just, you know, they all have the traditional 1950s type attitudes, I think. Mm-hmm. And I never have been like that. I have only been the alpha male when I had to, you know, when that comes out. Like, I never have walked around like that, and I don't like to.
It's not a very humble way to go about things.
It's really hard to be a man of God and walk around with pride like that. Mm-hmm. So that was one thing that you have to put yourself in check when, especially like that. You definitely have a role and an order and stuff to do, but you also need to check your pride. And I think a lot of our thinking, a lot of our, you know, the way that we do things and stuff, I think a lot of it is wrong. And I think even the attitude, you know, the male attitude in marriage is even, you know, not correct. It needs to be, I think, looked at and rethought.
Because I feel like you get one of the two extremes. So that, like, I know we use it kind of stereotype that, like, 1940, 1950, I am the man, woman be silent, you know, I do all, you know, whatever type of a thing. And then you have this complete opposite side now that we are 50-50 partners in everything. I get, you know, he has no final authority, no final say. He is not the leader of his household.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that other side of it.
Yeah.
Well, but that's where I kind of want to ask, because I've gotten a lot of people that comment and they go, I get biblically how, like, that sounds like a great idea and all, but I'm not the submissive type. I'm a very dominant, you know, personality and very much leader type, you know, type of a thing. And I was like, that's funny, because I would not classify myself as being a super submissive type attitude or personality.
We talked about that. We sort of discussed that.
But that's why I wanted to bring that up, though, because I think that's interesting to note that so many people, it's like, yeah, well, but that's not in my personality, so that no longer applies to me. But that's not how it works, because
it doesn't always happen with you, because you're not by any means always like that. But when it does, it's pretty bad. It's because you naturally just want to fight it.
It's difficult. It's seriously hard.
And you will not budge on it. You do not want to budge on it. And that's like, I think those are the only times that things have got to that point that I've ever gone like, okay, you know what? No, stop throwing your fit, knock it off.
Yeah. You
know, this is the way it's going to be, whether you like it or not. And you have to go you know, and that's the only time ever, I think, that we've even had any kind of
argument. And that's why I think for people that, you know, for women that do have very dominant type personalities, when you come upon those things where you feel that, like, coming up within you, it's hard. I mean, it is difficult. And the more and more you work toward it, the more and more you let things go, you really start growing in your walk with Christ and doing all these different things. I really do think it makes a huge difference, because I think of the person I used to be versus now. Mm-hmm. And obviously, like, it's a very big difference, but it takes work. And it doesn't mean that it just miraculously goes away and never necessarily comes back either.
That was the thing the other day, too, that I was like, okay, looking at this from a biblical perspective, obviously I don't want to treat you harshly. I don't want to
provoke you to
anger. I don't want to do all of these things. And I'm like, okay, but where's my reasoning? Why am I saying this? What am I doing? You know, what is the ultimate goal? To just serve me? Is this being selfish? Is this just something that I want? Or is this something that really needs to happen, that I really need to say? Mm-hmm. And I think that was from the first time, and I'm not usually like that, but I think from the first time I was just like, no, it's like this, and sorry, I don't really care what you say, but I want it like this.
End of discussion.
And that was the first, you know, but I did go about it from, you know, and a lot of times we go at things in anger and stuff, but I did think about it from a biblical perspective. Mm-hmm. just thinking of like, I think you should assess every situation like that going, okay, do I have a case in court here on this? Like, is there an argument that I have
if somebody
here?
really stands here and weighs my accusations and my issues,
do I really look
them,
like
or is it me?
Yeah, am I really the guilty party?
Whoops, never mind. In the middle of your court case, you're like, never mind. You know what? Let's just stop and go home.
And you know what? I think there's been times that I've been caught and that I've gone, I'm like, wow, this is stupid.
You know what?
I'm sorry. I just realized that I've noticed a couple times. I was like, you know what? I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say to you. Like, I've said all these things to you, and I just now realize that I'm wrong. So, I mean, that has happened.
That's where the joy of forgiveness and all of those things come in.
But I mean, I think this time I was just like, what I was paying attention to more of what I was upset at, and I was thinking like, okay, is this something that I could give grace on? Is this something that I need to say? Do I need to start a quarrel about this?
Or do I need to tell her she's a horrible wife? He needed to tell me I was a horrible wife.
I didn't tell you were a horrible wife. That was like the first thing that I specifically said that you were not.
I know, but when you started off by saying, I'm not saying you're a horrible wife, I heard, I am most definitely saying you are a horrible wife.
That is what you heard.
So regardless of what those words were, you said I'm ugly, I'm fat, my hair is awful, I don't wear the right clothes, nothing about me that I'm doing in our home is good, and I am a failure at life. That was the exact summary.
That's not what I said at all.
Not what he said. That's how I felt, though, by the time we were done. But that's okay. I'll work through it. Or suppress it. Anything else? I know you and I have talked a little. I
don't know. What is this even about? Is this any good?
I had an idea in my head when we started, but then things pop up.
Why am I here talking about our argument that we had last week?
Well, I think there is something valuable in sharing, because I don't think many people will stand up, like, especially when you're talking about these types of things. I don't feel like many times, there's more chickens showing up. I don't feel like most times people stand up and be like, yeah, guess what? I just totally blew it. And look what happened. And look what I learned from it and how we go from there. You know what I mean? Like, there were things, we were both frustrated and angry. So
you have been very, very good at that lately. That is one
frustrated
thing.
And angry?
Well, that too. No. But realizing when you're like, crap, I was wrong.
Yep.
So that takes a lot of humility to be able to do that.
Because nobody wants to be wrong.
No.
Nobody wants to admit that they're wrong. Are you kidding me? And especially with this guy, forget it.
Yeah, no, but that's one thing that we need to do. I mean, we need to show each other that type of humility. Like if you're a guy and you're wrong, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And get over it and apologize and move on, but don't act like it. You don't suppress it and start a bigger argument over it again.
So I know we've talked about and kind of kicked around doing with Lex and Travis, but a podcast about, we've been talking so much about biblical womanhood, but doing like a biblical manhood.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very, very interesting, because I think we're going to have two total different perspectives on it.
She's eating my ring. Coco.
Oh, it's raining. Starting to rain.
Okay, I'll finish up real quick. This is our 8th week. I'm almost finished up with our 8th week now. We talk a lot about the different topics that have been happening, but is there anything that we've been working on so far in our biblical womanhood that has stood out to you, or anything that you would like to say to women striving to live biblical lives?
I would say that it was from an Instagram post that I'll give a shout out to.
Oh, Keeping the Home.
It was Keeping the Home.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Keeping the Home on Instagram. It's her tag. He's not good with things.
I'm not at all, especially. So anyway, it was her post that kind of, I was like, you know what?
Yeah, because you reminded me of this during our fight. This was like your point in our fight.
He's like, bring it up.
Look at her post.
But you know what? Her post was really super awesome.
It was.
And I think everybody, I read it, and I was that is so cool. But the point of the post was she knew exactly what her husband did, what frustrated him, what...
Like in the morning,
and I hate to talk for her, but I have to tell the story.
But it was
getting stuff ready in the morning. She's like, I know what I can do. I know what he rushes around and looks for, what he goes and gets every single morning, what he does. And I was just like, that is like... the coolest thing ever. That's just what you should do for each other. Like that's marriage. Like that's what it should be like. And it shouldn't be by doing that, she's helping her best friend. She knows exactly that he needs his shoes right there.
He hates having to hunt down
his keys, and his food is ready to go when he has to.
So he's not eating drive-through or something nasty.
When he has to rush out the door for work. And I'm like, that's just being a cool friend to somebody. That's just being awesome. And that's what you need to do. I think both need to work on, but I think women especially, just find your friend again. Yeah. Be friends. Realize what each other likes, what each other enjoys. That was, I think, the only reason how we made it through staying married is because when we hated each other as husband and wife, we still were really good friends. Mm-hmm. So would you say, now that we're not in the middle... You gotta live with this woman for the rest of your life. You might as well enjoy it.
You get one. Chicken. Would you say, now that we are not... I'm not screaming at you. Would you say that...
She did.
I did. It was ugly. Would you say that I, for the most part, though, I do go about my day trying to prepare the things that I know you like and to have them ready for you? Not enough?
That's kind of what the argument was.
You really don't think I do?
No, you do. But remember what we were talking about? Yeah. I was like, sometimes you do a lot more things that you think that I would want rather than things that you know that I want.
See, but that's the key, though, that I was talking about one of the other days in this, because sometimes it really, and I think that's what made me so mad, is because sometimes you throw me for a loop with that stuff. Because I'm like, I really thought that a lot of these things were things that you liked. I feel like this goes back to our bathroom talk. When I was like, I'm doing all of these things for you. Don't you like these things? And you were like, you want to talk about what I like? I like when our bathroom is always clean. I can't stand a mess in the bathroom.
That's what it reminded me of, the same exact thing again.
But that's where I feel like so often with these things, I'm like, I'm doing all of these things for you.
Right.
So when you're then like, why aren't you doing the things you know I like? I'm like, are you kidding me? I am. That's what I'm doing. All of this is about
and that's what
doing
sets
what
you off,
want.
and that's what I've had to sit you down.
So then when you're like,
you out and go.
So then when you're like, okay, yes, I like this, but these things over here are like huge issues to me, and you didn't do A, B, and C or whatever. But that's where I was like, in this, I'm like, you know what? We can talk about these things in these videos, but you have to go talk to your husband. Mm-hmm. So if I ask on the video and say, hey, do you think you're an obedient wife? It's easy to be like, yes, I absolutely do.
Sure,
I am a great wife. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, but now go ask your husband. Does your husband think you're an obedient wife? Because if your husband doesn't think you're an obedient wife, it doesn't matter how great you think you are, because he thinks you stink. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that could be true. It could be. I mean,
so
maybe
to not ask or say, or if, again, because a lot of the things in this...
There's that hummingbird again.
Oh, it's back.
He's over there.
Hummingbird feeder out.
Somewhere over there.
So cool. He came up to the window yesterday. We're all sitting there, and this hummingbird just popped right up. But I think that was part of, the thing in our argument, because I'm like, I'm doing all these things, though, for you, because I want to make you happy. I want to do these things for you. And you're like, yeah, like, those are great. I'm not saying anything against those, but these are my top 3 over here, and you're mediocre at best. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, well, gee, thanks. Mm-hmm.
It's a hard place to get in, because your initial reaction is anger, which makes sense, because you're like, I did so much for you. And then it takes you a little bit.
I'm ugly.
Yeah. And then it takes you a minute to sit down and think about it and go, oh, he didn't say that at all.
I'm still working on that part.
Yeah. All right, let's go eat.
Okay, so for the record, do you think I'm ugly?
No. I'm not even answering you that question.
So frustrating sometimes. Why does life have to be so hard?
Ask Andy. I don't know.
Our rooster's over there going nuts. All right. Anything else you want to say to the women?
I didn't want to say anything, period.
Okay. Anything else you want to say now that I've forced you to talk to the women? Go find your best friend.
Yep.
Do the things that you know that he appreciates.
Be a friend to him.
Be a friend. Do the things you wish he would do for you.
Even if it means that you have to do some stuff that you don't like.
I don't like any of the things I have to do.
It's true.
Not true. No, it's not completely true.
All right, let's...
All right, nothing else?
Nope.
Thank you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Finish up the week. I'm going to answer your guys' questions that you sent in. We'll have a Living by Faith update. But otherwise, go talk to your husband and see what he thinks, because I obviously had to do it with mine, so now you have to go do it with yours, and then we can all be even. This is so awful.
This is a disaster. Don't you like it?
Nope, I don't like that it's dark. You can see our trash cans. Well, this time we turned it, and it's more so of our heads. You guys, this is a disaster. Absolute disaster. Look at all Lurgan's tires popping behind our head. Oh well, whatever. I was trying to force Brandon to come do a video for today, since we've been talking about biblical womanhood, and this week about being obedient to your husband. And I was like, I should get my husband to come and do a video with this. My husband hates videos, so we've been out
this
here
would be a good idea.
trying to. My husband hates videos, so I asked him to do a video. We've been out here trying to get this set up in a place that works for him, but yet somehow still does all the things, and it's an absolute disaster. It's not going well whatsoever.
No.
So I'm giving up, and this is just going to be the video, because I don't honestly know what else to do. And the chickens know we're out here, so now they're freaking out, and the chickens are going to get us as well. All that being said, biblical womanhood, this week's topic, obedient to your husband. I started the week off by sharing the disaster that was our life, like last week.
Yeah, I watched that. I don't usually watch those, but after you told me that you told the whole world about it, I went ahead and watched it.
What'd you think?
Thought it was good. I was like, I mean, you did a good job of saying what happened. I was pretty surprised you said you freaked out. I didn't think you'd say that. That was pretty funny. I kind of laughed a little bit.
But I did.
I did, yeah.
I was frustrated.
Yeah, it was, well, the whole thing was
The
frustrating.
whole thing was frustrating. I don't even need my glasses. It was really frustrating. But then I feel like this week has been totally different, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely. That
Gosh.
was... Alright, we have to start over again.
Well, I had to take my phone case off because it was getting hot, and oh my gosh, this is a disaster. Anyways.
This is what you get for trying to make me do a video.
If I ever do this again, I should learn.
See,
and every time it's a disaster.
What's the topic about? Because so far, 2 things this week. You got me to do a video, and you haven't let me shaved.
I haven't let you shaved?
Yeah.
Okay, no.
No.
No. Okay, let's talk about this.
You haven't let me shave. Why did I say shave?
I don't know.
Let's just start this again.
This video is such a disaster. Okay, we've tried this like a million times. I'll probably put some outtakes before this or something. I don't know. Coco, our chicken, is here.
Which is going to be fun.
Which is going to be fun because Coco is very outspoken.
Wait, so did you restart the whole
well, no, I guess I don't have to restart. We'll just continue on. Whatever.
No. Well, go ahead and restart it.
I don't remember what we said.
Just restart it.
So,
Restart it.
Welcome back to Biblical Womanhood. We've been... I am restarting. Restart this video?
Yeah.